In this video, I'm going to show you how to do retrobrighting, or at least how I do it, and there are other ways of doing it. But this is a method that works for me. So retrobrighting, as you'll probably be familiar, is restoring the faded colours from plastics and returning them back to original, or as close to as possible. But it's not without risk, and this is why I wanted to go through it and show you step by step exactly how I do it. And that way, if you want to have a go yourself, you do it at your own risk, obviously, but hopefully this will help you minimise that. A big shout out and thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring this video on my channel. PCBWay, they make PCBs from as little as $5 with super fast shipping. Here is one that I got off their project pages. It's a recreation of the issue 3B ZX Spectrum board. So if you fancy getting yourself one of these, get yourself on the PCBWay projects pages. But not only do they do PCBs, they also do 3D printing. This is a little case they made up for me for my little Retrobrighting diagnostic cart. And as well as 3D printing, they do CNC machining. So whatever your project needs, do check out PCBWay. If you need some inspiration, check out their project pages. It's crammed full of them. But thank you again to PCBWay for sponsoring this video. Link in the description. I'm going to look to retrobright these two Atari ST floppy disk drives, the SF314s. And as you can probably see side by side, there's a difference between the two colour-wise. This one's not so bad, and hopefully the camera can pick up that this is considerably yellow. If I flip it up to the front though, hopefully you can see that, and you will see that whilst the case hasn't done too badly, the insert mechanism has certainly suffered quite badly. So what I have used in the past and what I'll be using in this video is this cream peroxide bleach. It's 12%. You can get different strengths. I think this is about the strongest you can get. But this is what I will be using. I think if memory serves me right, I got this from Amazon. It's not that expensive. Before we can start doing anything though, we're going to have to strip these down and look to get the labels off them. I've found that these labels don't actually suffer because I accidentally put one in a retrobrighting process and the label stayed intact, but I'm going to do my best to try and remove it, as well as the one on the back, which experience has told me does fade. So we'll look to removing the labels, but first thing, let's get it opened up. Right, it's literally time to start retrobrighting. What I like to use is these Ziploc bags. They're really good at keeping the bleach and everything all nicely sealed, stops everything drying out. It's obviously important that you use a big enough bag, but if I need to tell you that, we've got problems. So I think I can get both in one bag. Both House of the Drive, that is. Yeah. And I'll put both facing up. Now it's just a case of just piling it full of the bleach solution, which should be good. So now, with everything in the bag, it's just a case of chucking in some bleach, which I'll do my best. You might want to wear gloves for doing this, as you probably don't want it on your hands, but how much is enough? Well, you just want a light covering on everything, and I'm just going to empty the contents left in this one and bob some more in, and then once you've got it in, just smother it around everything. Right, that's that bottle done with. Right, bottle number 2. Give it a bit of a shake. So we could squirt in there. Let's give that a try, see if we've got enough. So it's just a case of sealing it back up and giving it a good massage. So I'm not too bothered about the underneath. Shall that's sealed. Don't want any of this coming back out. Just a case of wobbling it around and getting everything covered. In fact, look at it. So we'll put some more in down at the bottom. So I've given it a really good massage and spread around, and I think that's good enough for now. Everywhere's got some on, nicely spread out. So from here, it's a case of going back and stick it in my little Retrobrighting box, which I will show you next. And here it is. It's just a big box with a 50-watt UV light, which I've got off Amazon. I've still lined it with foil just to keep everything reflected back in. So it's just a case of bobbing it in the box, spreading it out so light can get to it. And what I'll do is I'll periodically come back to it, turn it round, just because the light will be coming more from the top. Spread the paste around and give it a turn. And I'll do that maybe every 2 or 3 hours. And I think this will probably take a good 24 hours in here. I've not had any problems leaving it on overnight, but yeah, so we'll leave it in here for a little bit, and we'll come back and keep giving it a massage and a turn. Because I'm an idiot, I forgot to dismantle the drives and get the fronts off as well. So I've just done that and bobbed them in this bag. So those are ready to now go into the Retrobrighting box. I'll go check on those in a little while and see how they're doing. But whilst they're baking away, I thought I'd show you some of the things that I've retrobrighted that haven't gone quite so well. Now this, as I'm sure you can tell, is a SNES, and I got this off eBay and it was very yellow indeed, and I'm sure you can tell now by looking at it. It doesn't look very yellow at all. I'll just have a look around it. It looks really good. And one thing I said, and I'm sure you're wondering why I'm waffling, Simon, you said it didn't turn out too well. Well, most of it did, but this bit didn't. If you look at the button, the eject button, it's got a strange mottled effect. And this plastic is slightly different to all the others. And this one reacted differently to it. Now, I think the reason why it did this is because I simply left it too long. I don't know for certain, but it's definitely a different plastic. And it's okay, isn't it? If I was that bothered, I could potentially get a completely broken one and swap it out. But just be aware that if you do get it wrong, the likelihood is the damage will be permanent, which I suspect it will be on this. Right, next one. So here we've got one of my many Atari STs, and I would imagine you can see straight away where the problem lies. That's right, it's that button here. Sorry. Yes, the function keys. They are almost snow white. Now, the case itself, I haven't retrobrighted the case. The case just is what it is. And the main reason I've not done the case is just simply because I haven't had a bag that's been big enough to fit it in. But it's something that I might get round to having a go at some point. Let's have a close look up at these keys. So I've not done the rest of the keyboard. Haven't done the keys on this. It's just been the function keys. And they really are just completely bleached. All the colours just been bleached out of them. And there's only one reason why that's happened, and that is because they've been left in too long. It's as simple as that. I've taken my eye off the ball, left them for far too long, and it's just literally bleached all the colour out of it. The only solution to that would now be to replace them. I don't know what else you could do, really. It is what it is. So it's a cautionary tale. When you are retrobrighting, keep checking on whatever it is that you're doing, because otherwise, ultimately, we'll end up stripping all the colour out of it, and then it'll look something stupid like this. I think with that said then, we better go and have another look at it. It's been in there about 24 hours, and I've been shuffling it around and checking on it. But it's worth having another look, and I'll show you how it's doing. Right, here we are at Retrobrighting Central. Let's have a look in my box and see how it's doing. If you're wondering why there's a bit of polystyrene on the top, Well, it's just to hold the light bracket up so the light's more flush with the lid. Nothing more complicated than that. Right, here we are. Nice and warm as well, which apparently helps the process. I think what we'll do, with it being 24 hours, we'll take it out and have a good look at each one of them under some good lighting and see what they're looking like. Now, to me, that still looks yellow. I've just compared it with the case on one of my mega files, which looks pretty good, to be fair. And you can see this needs longer. This definitely needs longer. I'm happy to leave that one longer. I've got no qualms about that one. That one's not too bad, but once again. So before I put it back, and this is what I do every time I come to it, I just give it a really good massage, spread it out, because people do complain about using the gel of getting streaks, and I think that will probably happen by having thick areas on it for extended periods of time. So I've never had streaks. I've bleached the death out of things. I've never had streaks. So I just give it a good massage and that works for me. Now I've just lost that little tab. That's there. Just keep it all separate. And what I'll do as well is I'll just turn them over as well, so that when they go in the box, back in the retro booth, there's a new orientation. Right, I'll move that one out of the way. So that one's going back in. Right. Now this does not look bad. I don't know what it comes up with that on camera, but it's definitely still got a bit of a little bit of a tinge to it. See if we can get the face on view. Now that does not look bad at all. That looks pretty good. About this side. Now that doesn't look bad. I don't think the bases were too bad either way. I don't know whether to call that one, you know. Don't know whether to call that one. I just don't want to push it too far. As you can see, the badge has survived absolutely fine. Like I say, I accidentally Retrobrighted one of the badges previously. I'd avoid it in general, but yeah, the metal Atari badges are quite safe, or at least with what I do anyway. Not sure about that one. Let's put that to one side and let's have a look at the other one. Now this one's definitely got more yellow vibes going on.
Everything. That. Look.
Compare it with the bottom, which won't have been exposed to sunlight. You can see, well, perhaps you can't see, but there is a definite difference in colour. The top's definitely got a browner look to it. This is just a nice grey. So I don't think that one's ready. Once again, the front's similar. It's bit yellowy. Let's compare it with the one that I'm considering pulling. It's awkward, I know, sorry.
Yeah. This one.
Trying to get these together as best as I can.
Right, listen to that.
I think I'm going to leave everything a little bit longer. I think that's the decision I'm going to make. It is better to do too little than too much, but I think we're safe doing it for a little bit longer. I'll check on it every couple of hours. It's been what? Just over 24 hours that's been in. I think,
That's
I don't know. Maybe some point this evening. Maybe another 6 hours or so. Difficult to guesstimate, but give it a nice good rub, and I'll stick it straight back in the retro booth. Right, this is the following morning now. We should have had these in here now for about 40 hours. It's been overnight yet again. It's just prop that up. I think this will probably be done. And if it isn't quite done, I'm not sure I want to do it much longer, to be honest. So let's get it under a good light and have a good look.
right.
Right, what should we start with? Let's have a look at this. Now that doesn't look bad at all. Let's zoom in with the camera. It doesn't look perfect. Has it still got hints of yellow? Yeah, possibly. About that. Yeah, these were the bits that were really bad though, weren't they? Just wondering. I think I might leave these in a little bit longer. Do you know what? I think those are good enough rather than risk starting to bleach them white, which is what will start to happen. I think I'm going to call those. And worst case scenario, I can always add some more bleach and put them back in. I think we're about there. Let's have a look at this one.
Right.
We're going to give these a wash, and I'll bring them back, and we'll have a good look. But I think these are good enough. Don't want to do them too much, so I'll bob these back in.
Sure.
Bob these back in the retro box, and I'll get these out and have a good look. Can always bob them back in, can't we? So let's do that. Right, that's everything washed. All the bleach is washed off. back from the sink then. You know, I said, don't worry about the badge. Worry about the badge. Unfortunately, I think I must have just been really lucky when I did the mega file, because I left the badge on that. I left the badge on by accident with the mega file, and it came through absolutely fine. But on this one, you can see it started to make a bit of a mess of the sticker, and it's lifted some of the colour off, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. I'll have to get on eBay and find a case or something and replace that badge at some point. So don't leave the badges on. Don't listen to me. Don't leave the badges on. But it is what it is, isn't it? But the case itself, that's come out looking really, really nice. Really, really nice. It's a nice light Atari grey, back to how it should have been. So I'm really happy with that. I'm not going to cry about the badge, so I'll move that out of the way. So this is the bottom for it, and once again, it looks really good. And you can see we left a little bit of bleach on there. It's really hard to shift is the gel. It tends to just linger in all the little nooks and crannies, and from experience you'll be finding it for ages. I'll have to give it another rinse off camera just to make sure I've got every last bit off. But as you can see, it looks really, really good. Really, really, really nice solid grey. And like I mentioned about the streaking before, there's no streaking. And whether my method is the reason why that works well or not, I don't know. But I periodically go and just massage it and move the paste around on it. But it works for me. Hopefully it will work for you too. So that's that one. Let's get that one out of the way. Let's get the other one. And this still has its cosmetic marks, as you would expect from wear and tear. Nothing much you can do about that. But once again, you can see it's a nice uniform light grey. Cosmetic marks again. Never mind. We've still got that swirl around the edge, which Retrobrighting was never going to get rid of. But once again, the yellowing's gone. And it looks really quite fabulous. Glad I took the badge off. And there's the bottom as well. Once again, no streaking. Looks nice and good. So I'm just going to give this a little bit of time to dry. Let's get them side by side. Let's see how everything looks. Now, you can see there's a colour difference. There was to begin with, and it was inevitable we'll get a bit of a colour difference at the end, which there is. But the colour on each one is uniform. I've got no streaking. The yellowing has gone. Look at the underside. It's all looking really, really good. I'm really glad there's no streaking there. There's still some of the cosmetic marks which were on the plastic to begin with. There's nothing you can do about that. Not that I know of anyway. So those are still there to some degree. But I think overall that is a great success. Let's not mention the badge. So I'll wait for these to dry fully, and I'll wait for the bits of the drive to finish the eject mechanism and surround to finish in the Retrobrighting box, and then we'll put it all back together. I think whilst I'm waiting for everything to finish, I'm just going to stick this badge back on. I'm going to use some double-sided tape. Could glue it on, but I'm just going to Just going to use some tape. I think that'll be more than adequate. Look at the difference. That looks rubbish, doesn't it, compared to that? Never mind. Right, we'll just wait for the rest of the stuff to finish retrobrighting. I think while I've got everything in bits, I'm just going to give the drive heads a little bit of a clean with some isopropyl alcohol. It'd be foolish not to. I don't know if you can see in there, the drive is just, it's just hiding in there. It's nice and gentle. So these drive fronts, these are the last things in the Retrobrighting box. And these have now been in well over 48 hours, about 48, about 54 hours. Now these admittedly were the most yellow by a considerable margin. And I think these are more or less okay. It's always a little bit tricky to check in the bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them out of the bag, give them a wash. Oh, I've already taken that one out already because I think it's reached the colour that I want. Let's compare that with the drive case. So I've already taken that one out early because I didn't want to start bleaching it white. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these out, give them a wash, and I'll get them back under the camera and you can have a look, see what you think as well. So there they are, washed and dried. What do you think? I think these are pretty awesome. Now, you might notice there, like on that one, it's got a raised section. Yes. When I was disassembling it, I didn't realise at the time, but fortunately I found the bit later. I managed to snap it off, so that's going to need gluing back on. But that shouldn't be too bad. But what do you think? I think that is brilliant. Let me get the drive in. One of the cases. Right, let's move the camera back. So there we go. This one's from here. Let's see if we can bob it in just very quickly. Which way around is it? Got to be that way, hasn't it?
Right.
What do you think of that? Terrific. Let's try the other one. It's going to fall out, obviously. So this is the other one. Let's just slot it in. That looks fabulous, doesn't it? I think so anyway. I think that's done exactly what I wanted it to do. So I think the next thing to do is start putting these back together. And I'm going to have to try and remember now which bit goes with which one. Because Me being an idiot, I didn't keep them separate. Right. The first thing I need to do, or potentially the first thing I need to do, is glue this back on there. But that's extremely fiddly. And also, it's got to feed through there, which is a very precise little hole. So what I'm thinking is, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to feed it through the back, because there's just enough on there, it doesn't fall through. If you can see that there. I don't want to force it now. That just sits in there. There is no way I'm going to be able to glue that onto there and to make a good connection. Now, hopefully, the light will still shine through, even though it's not necessarily connected. If that makes sense. I just need to make sure that it's the right way around before I put it in. So, let me get my magnifying glasses. It's be young again. Right. Right, so that's the right way around. So if I take that off and now insert that into there, I know that that's got its best chance of lining up when that goes on, if you get my drift. Right, I'm going to leave that loose rather than glue it, because it can't go anywhere. I'm going to work on assembling the drive together now. Well, there we go. Both drives back together. Never thought in a million years you'd need to assemble them upside down. No wonder the first one was so tricky putting back together. But we got there in the end. I'm still gutted about that label. What about the rest of it? I am really, really pleased with that. I think they look absolutely fabulous. Other than for the odd mark and scrape here and there. Well, having said that, I wonder if I've done some of that myself, putting it together. I have to give that a little bit of a clean. I think some of that might clean off. But what do you think? Compared to how it was? I think those look awesome now, sat with the mega files. I think they've turned out really, really brilliant. And I was contemplating doing this one as well, the case on this Megafile, the SH205 there at the bottom, you can see that one's a different colour. But as I'm looking at it, I think the case hasn't faded. It matches up with exactly the same colour as the badge. So I'm going to leave that as is. So that's how I Retrobright, and there are loads of other different ways, and you might want to look into that, but I think this is the easiest way. It is for me anyway. If you've not done it before, I would strongly suggest that if you're going to have a go, do it on something that doesn't really matter. Because if you do get it wrong and it goes badly, then there's probably no coming back from it. That said, there's other downsides to Retrobrighting as well. People do say that it doesn't last and the colour will, the discoloration will return and it will come back quicker. But I've not experienced it yet, and I've had stuff that I've done over 18 months ago. Horses for course, I guess it depends how you store it, the plastic, a million other different factors, who knows. But it's something to consider, isn't it? And I think as well, people say that it makes the plastic more brittle. I can't say that I've experienced that, but who am I to say? If you haven't subscribed, please do consider it. I've got some more interesting videos upcoming. I am going to teach myself to use this oscilloscope if it kills me. And I'm going to see if I can use it to do some proper fault finding rather than just swapping stuff in and out. I'm also going to have a go at building a spectrum, a new spectrum, as it were. Not a new spectrum, but an old spectrum built out of new bits. Does that make sense? Well, subscribe and look out for the video, and then you'll be able to see what on earth I'm waffling about. But thank you for watching. It is more than appreciated. And I will look forward to seeing you in another video soon. Bye for now.